Good day everyone. Today I'll explain what is risk management and what is two pillars in risk management. And today I'll explain Module 15 Introduction to Risk Management. First, what is risk management? Risk management involves a systematic identification, evaluation, and regulation of potential threats to an organization, capital, earnings, and operations. So, in summary, this is the plan to handle problems that might happen. Example is like in real life is like wearing a helmet when riding a bike. And also, risk management has two main elements: risk assessment and risk mitigation. First, I'll explain to you what is risk assessment. Risk assessment identifies possible risks associated with existing or expected financial choices. And in simple explanation, looking at what could go wrong and how serious it is. An example is like staying a wet floor and taking a night sleep. Second is, what is risk mitigation? Risk mitigation, after you identify risks, you develop a strategy. This includes determining the amount of which you are willing to accept, reject, or insert explanation, taking action to reduce or prevent the risk.
Therefore, stage of risk management. First, identify the risk. Second, assess the risk. Third, control or reduce the risk. Fourth, monitor the risk. Disaster preparedness plan, ready before disaster. For example, typhoon preparation, evacuation plan, emergency kit, strength, save lives, reduce damage, consideration, needs plan, people, most follow. Managing uncertainties, being ready for things you cannot predict. Example, typhoon, price increase, illness.
Today, I explain to you the types of risks that have in the Philippines. Financial risk, example, losing money or having not enough funds. Number two, operational risk, problem and daily works or business situation. Number three, material risk, for example, change in price and demand or competition. Other risk, number one, human resources risk, problem with employee. Number two, financial and economic policy risk, for example, change in taxes, inflation, or interest rates. Number three, environmental risk, for example, pollution.
So let's start with number one, insurance products. You can take note of it as a pay a little bit so you don't lose a lot. You have probably heard of insurance, but maybe you're not sure how it works. Think of it like this. Imagine you and your neighbors all put a small amount of money into a pot every month. If one of you has a big problem like a fire burning down their house, the money from that pot helps them fix things up. That's basically what insurance is. You can pay a regular fee. We call this a premium to a company, and when trouble comes, they help cover the costs. There are different kinds for different needs, and a lot of them matter here in the Philippines, such as typhoon and a flood insurance, health insurance, life insurance, property insurance, crop insurance, and many more. So, why is insurance important and helpful? Simple, because it takes the huge financial burden of unexpected events and shares it with the insurance company so you don't have to face big costs alone. But there are few things to be considered about insurance too. Not all plans cost the same. Some are cheaper, some are more expensive, depending on what they cover. You have to pick one that fits what you need and what you can afford. Every plan has rules, like what they will cover and what they want. So always ask questions and make sure you know what you're signing up for. Second one is the disaster preparedness plans. You can also take note of it as be ready before the trouble strikes. Okay, so insurance helps after something bad happens. But what if we could make things better before the trouble comes? That's what disaster preparedness is all about. This is about planning ahead so you know exactly what to do when a disaster like a typhoon or earthquake hits, whether you're at home, work, or in your community. What do you think is the best part about being prepared? Simple, because it saves lives. When everyone knows what to do, emergencies feel less scary and more manageable. It also means less damage to our homes and things we work hard for, and when disasters are over, we can get back to normal faster. So the thing must also be considered is you have to plan truly, and people must follow plans only work if they are updated regularly. People trained to follow them, and everyone in our families, businesses, and local leaders works together. The third one is financial risk mitigation techniques. Uh, the key principle to this is protect your money from ups and downs. Now let's talk about our money. Because even when there's no storm or emergency, our finances can still be at risk. Like maybe the price of things goes up a lot, or your income goes down, or the money you invested doesn't grow like you thought it would. These are financial risks, and there are easy ways to protect yourself from them. This is all about managing our money. So what to consider here is it takes discipline. You cannot save or budget if you keep spending on things you don't need. Start managing budgeting your money wisely by saving and budgeting your money, building an emergency fund, and diversity of investment. That means don't keep all your money in just one place. Government initiatives and programs highlighting it supports for everyone to help manage risks. We have talked about what we can do on our own, but the government also play a big part in helping us manage risk. They make programs and plans to help all communities stay safe and strong, from warning us about disaster to planning for long-term challenges like climate change. Our disaster relief, social protection, and financial assistance such as PAG-ASA, NDRRMC, and Climate Change Commission. The importance of these government initiatives and programs is they help people who might not be able to help themselves, like poor families, elderly people, or farmers who lose everything. They also make sure we are ready for big problems that no one person can fix alone. What to consider is the government can't help everyone right away, and they need enough money and people to make these programs work. That's why we should follow their warnings, take part in community plans, and do our part to take care of our environment.
Lastly, I'll explain to you the legal and regulatory compliance. What is legal regulatory compliance? It's like following the rules and laws. So in simple explanation, it's like doing the rules of everything is fair. And in simple explanation, it's like obeying rules of everything is fair and safe.